Namaste, welcome to the third lecture on Yogi Scientist Dialogue. And in this session, we are going to discuss about the first of the nine Chit Padarthas called Bhumi. To make a recap of what has been done so far, we started with the concept of conscious matter relations, a prerequisite for the yoga science studies. Then the benefits of this dialogue was highlighted. We identified the seed of this thought from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is Dana Vignana Truptatma. That seed thought was expanded in the seventh chapter and then further into the eighth and ninth, and progressively it goes on up to 17th chapter. The seventh chapter seed thinking is Yogeshwara Sri Krishna said, I am going to present you the combined knowledge of Gnana and Vijnana, after knowing which you will have nothing else left to pursue. And the goal set was Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamashritya Etantite Te Brahma Tadvidukkutstam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam. And this was a part of the instructions to become Tasmat Yogi Bhava. Therefore, become a yogi. Then, we also identified the common approach of all the three acharyas and all other commentators on Bhagavad Gita. Vijnana is a common undisputed understanding with all the acharyas, all the Darshana Shastras. The Tattva of Vedanta differs depending upon the perspective they have taken. Therefore, when we talk of Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha Sannyasa Yogad Yatayah Shuddha Sattvaha Te Brahma Loke Tu Paranta Kale Paramrutat Parimuchyanti Sarve. There is a continuing connection between the ancient Rishi Darshana called Veda Vijnana, condensed in Bhagavad Gita, which is primarily the book of yogas, and Veda Vedanta Sara, then maturing into the Upavedas, learned to be through the Vedangas for Purushartha Siddhi and Paramartha Siddhi. This tradition is a living tradition. When we invite a Paramahamsa Sannyasi, we say this Veda mantra, Vedanta Vijnana Sunishitarthaha, then we say, Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyagena amritatvamanashu, recollecting the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Such being the case, where did we lose this streak of Yoga Vijnana for Purushartha? Why we talk of the high-end philosophy and end up in the poverty, in the daridrya, in following up instead of the leadership, become a faith tradition instead of a scientifically validated research and technology traditions. This is where the understanding of the Vedic science, which is also Yoga Vijnana. Veda Vijnana is Yoga Vijnana, and Yoga Vijnana comes in multiple streams. The base of Yoga Vijnana is Chit Padartha Jnana. That Chit Padartha Jnana, the mother seed, was given in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, as Bhumirapo Nalo Vayuhu Kham Mano Buddhirevacha Ahankara iti yamme Bhinna Prakriti Rashtadha. So the explanation of the Prakriti in four modes, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, Adhyatma, was also given in Bhagavad Gita. And in ninth chapter, Yogeshwara said, this is Rajavidya Rajaguhyam, the most secret knowledge. Arjuna was not satisfied. He said, Sarvametadrutam manye. I agree that what all you are telling is really truth because I trust you. But show me, darshaya. It's exactly like a scientist who uses the input as a hypothesis and wants to test, validate, not only for personal satisfaction but as a third party test. Repeatability, consistency is the point. So, to provide directives, roadmap for this, Yogeshwara Sri Krishna said, Pashyame Partha Rupani, you see me. And then, was it something like a magic or a hypnosis? No. Arjuna endorsed, Pashyami, I see. And after whatever the time of Mahabharata, there are several Siddha Purushas who have this knowledge and experience till our date, till our times. They are amidst us. We are not able to find them. So out of these nine, out of these chit padarthas needed by the Yoga Vijnana, my present focus in this lecture is to point the understanding of the first of the nine padarthas, which is called Bhumi, which in synonymous terms are used as Prithvi, Mahi, Vishwam, several names are there for that. How did the Yoga Vijnana Sampradaya, documented in language Sanskritam, explain this term and used it for application? This is the focus of my presentation. Then what is the benefit of this? The benefit of this presentation or understanding is the understanding of Gita. We understand the Vijnana part, which is also needed for Vedanta. Then we understand how to pursue the Kshetra Kshetragna Vibhaga mentioned in Gita. We understand the symbolism of Vishwam Vishnuhu given in Vishnu Sahasranama, faithfully repeated by countless people and lectured upon. How do I see Vishnu Paramatma in the Vishwa in which this Bhumi is also there? What is my connection with the universe? How am I a part of the universe? So, this helps me to extend what the tradition calls as Brahma Karma to become Vishwakarma. Brahma Karma is individual mode. Vishwakarma is expansion of this individual karma yoga, to the level of the global thinking, the universal. The aham part becomes sarvam. Aham brahmasmi to sarvam khalvidam brahma. The knowledge of that becoming pragnanam brahma. The Vedanta part of it keep apart, but the Vijnana part is common to all the acharyas, all the Vedas and the Upaveda. Upavedas, which are four in number, are yoga science applications or Vedic science applications and technologies for longevity, well-being, health, protection, cultural enjoyment, and the technologies which make life comfortable as Vastu transformation, material transformation technologies. That could cover civil construction, that would cover metallurgy, it could cover computers, it could cover space science, whatever deals with the material. That is Atharva Veda. It is not witchcraft. The summary drive out of this lectures or the presentations is: should we, as the people of Yoga Samskritam, Yoga Vijnana, the people who adore Srimad Bhagavad Gita, take an initiative, a proactive initiative to bring out the Yoga Vijnana in Bhagavad Gita? Why are we locking incompatible modern material science with a higher level Yoga Vijnana? The key difference is in understanding matter and conscious matter, the difference between these two hypotheses. This is a Yoga Sanskritam University initiative exploring yogi as Gnana Vijnana Truptatma, then leading to the Samanvaya Samuchaya of Purushartha and Paramartha. Purushartha becomes the foundation for going higher to the Paramartha. Paramartha is completely integrated into the life, but then Purushartha Siddhi is important. That is for the well-being, that is for the Trupti. This helps us to understand what the modern activists talk in terms of the ecological balances, eco-harmony. When we see the Panchabhutas as Paramatma Sharira, starting from Akasha Shariram Brahma to Bhumi as Vishnu Patni, we see no reason to pollute these things. And if we are doing it, we are doing a papa karma. So what do? We seek pardon, kshama, from Parameshwara, and we do whatever is the right thing to keep our bhumi, prithvi, as tirtha kshetra, punya kshetra. Now, um, I will go through segments of thoughts because to connect all this, we require the textual references to be put forward, shared. That can happen only in an extended workshop with the time for interaction, bringing in thoughts. In this session, I will just make the dotted connection of how we, the people of Bhagavad Gita Yoga Sanskritam traditions, are living the Chit Padartha in our life, in our samskaras, in our samskruti, in our puja paddhati, yet we are not recognizing the key thoughts. Once this recognition is made, every housewife, every archaka in the temple, every yoga teacher will be a proponent of Sanskritam as the language of yoga. The talk of Sanskrit as non-deliverable, non-translatable, the talk of Sanskrit as classical language, Sanskrit as a dead language, Sanskrit as a language of the scheming upper class to suppress the society, all this becomes meaningless. If yoga is for the Purushartha Siddhi of everyone, if rest of the world could make a wellness market of 7 trillion US dollars using just the yoganga, two or three of them as asana, pranayama, and a bit of dhyana, and the trending yoga feature is yama niyamas, called as the lifestyle for wellness and well-being. And within wellness, we have got the ethics. And ethics is a big issue in the corporate. Ethics hurts everyone and every nation. And managerial education, management teams are so focused upon the ethics part of it. In fact, there is a index called the corruption index. Like any other economic index, there is something called a corruption index. And who stands at the zero level of the corruption index in the world? Nobody. There are people who are having score of less than 10, some European countries, which every nation, every politician, every kind of investor trusts to keep their money as safe haven. Then there are people who come above the index 10, they go up to some 200, 300. Advanced nations come between 60 to 100. Developing nations come between 100 to 200. And I don't have to say any nation which goes with a corruption index of 200 plus, what will be the society like. So if we have to build a nation, Atmanirbhar nation, where yoga rules the lifestyle and the prosperity, well-being, the practice of yama niyamas is a must, and to follow the Yama Niyamas, a clarity on the universe where we are living to do ethical business is very important. So, the knowledge of the conscious matter as presented in Bhagavad Gita is useful for everyone, whether it is the faith relying family person going to a temple, doing a archana, doing a havan, or a technologist who is planning on the materials and has to transform one form of material to another involving ecological imbalances. For example, paint uses lead. The fuel, the petrol, diesel emits carbon. There is a lead issue. In many medicines, the issue of ethics has been very, very dominant. How do you prepare the most popular or most needed injection which is used for sugar, the insulin? If one goes through the process of how insulin is extracted or manufactured, the pain of the ethics will be felt. There are much more than this. Anyway, this is to point out the benefit of the Chit Padartha for all the end users. And what is the very specific use of Chit Padartha for the practicing yogis? Whether it is the asana pranayama persons or the dhyana yagna puja persons. They are dealing with the body, deha. And if they don't understand what is the constitution and functionality of deha in terms of chit padartha, Ayurveda will not be able to help them. So Ayurveda diagnostics needs a foundational knowledge of chit padartha, and right now the Ayurveda practice teaching base has shifted to the chemistry base provided by the Western medicine. I am not telling that is bad. All that I am telling is if we have got to elevate our thinking, the quality of the application, the material base science has to upgrade to conscious matter relations, science and technologies. This is Vedic science. Now, if any serious uh, researcher, people, institutions, sciences, and through them to Yoga Samstam University, we may be able to have a fruitful dialogue and an education program or a research project. This will be for good of all. Okay, now let me come back to uh, the listing of the Chit Padarthas. Going back to Bhagavad Gita, quoting that shloka, Bhumirapo vanalo vayuhu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtadha. So the first one is bhu, bhu. Rest will come later, but this presentation is right now focused upon bhu. What is the understanding of bhu? The general translation provided by many and taken for granted is bhu means earth. Bhu is Bhumi. Bhumi means earth. So the equivalent terms listed are Prithvi, Mahi, Achala, Ananta, like this, several names. Where from did they get it? They got it from Amarakosha, which is considered as a lexicon which provides groups of similar words as Varga. So this shloka, Bhurbhu Mirchalananta Rasa Vishwambharasthira, 32 names related to the Bhu are put under Bhu Varga in the second Kanda. Amarakosha is a post-current era placed around 2nd century to 3rd century, whatever time, or maybe 2nd century BC, doesn't matter. What was the understanding of Bhu going some 500, 600 years earlier to that, say in Nirukta, in Vedangas? Nirukta is a Nirvachana Shastra which provides how to understand a Sanskrit term and use it. 6 Vedangas are to be studied integrally. Out of that, the first 3, Shiksha, says how to pronounce, articulate this Samskrita Shabda with the Swaras, Uchcharana, the Swara Samskara, all that. There are 2 parts in that. One is Bhasha related, other one is Veda related. Veda related details are given in Pratishakyas. Bhasha related are given in regular Shiksha Shastras. That's a subject by itself. The modern thinker or analyst or the media persons have to note India has the most outstanding, long standing, deep study of thought articulation process. How do I say what I think? How do I give a name to what I see? How do I document what I experience? This is much deeper than the social linguistics, which was studied in Europe uh, in the 17th century later on what is the meaning of the text. The traditional discussion is what is the artha of this pada? What is the nama connected with this rupa? Nama Rupa Vyakarana. Those who know the Upanishads, they know Nama Rupe Vyakaravani. There is a statement. So that is jumping from Bhagavad Gita or 3 millennia before current era to several millennia back or even to the transcendent, Atita, Apaurushaya level. We will not go to that part of it now. So, Nirukta is the final discipline which says, given a word, given a sentence, given a document, which could be a pada, vakya, prabandha, mantra, sukta, shloka, sutra. Any one of these things, how do I understand what was the intention of the speaker? What is the tatparya of this? What is the bhava that came out of this particular thing? For this, the Sharira of the Pada has to be analyzed, and then the core of it also needs to be analyzed. There are several tools for that. Shiksha gives how to articulate pronouns. Then Chandas gives the flow of the words as Padya or Gadya are mixed, how it is to be done. Swara Yukta, Saswara, Chandobadha, Yati Matrayuta, Vrutta, all that. So we get that as Gayatri Chandaha, Anushtup Chandaha, Trishtup Chandaha, Jagati Chandaha. These are the Vedic meters. Classical meters are Indra Vajra, Upendra Vajra, Vamshastha, Shardula Vikridita, Vasanta Tilaka. These are the things. Then Vyakarana is how the word units of the sentence are done. Vyakarana says Sup Ting Antam Padam. A word that needs to meet the language standard of Sanskritam must be identified by the Prakriti, Pratyaya and the Prakriya. So when we use the word Bhuhu or Prithvi, we have to understand the Shabda Sharira and the Shabdatma, Vak and Artha, Vagatma inside this particular word. The discipline which helps us to understand this is called Nirukta. In the framework of Nirukta, the word meanings are explained in Naigamakanda, Devatakanda, Agamakanda. Like this, there are several sections. And in that section, the word Bhu is given. Where is it given? It is classified as Prithvi Namani. The names related to the Prithvi. Now, is Bhu the same as Prithvi? Something that needs to be deliberated. Why? When we do the puja, even today, what do we do? Prithvi Tvaya Dhrita Loka. We use that mantra. And if someone asks, what is this mantra meaning? We say, no, 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 the place where we are sitting, that we are trying to respect, purify. When we get up and say, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Bhutadhatri Namostute, we are making prayer respecting our earth as Bhumata, one who is supporting us, one who is giving us food. Does Bhu means the same thing as Prithvi? I don't know. Need to explore. Let's explore. Then we go to a Venkateshwara temple and we see the mother on one side Lakshmi, Padmavati, on the other side the Devata, Bhunila Sameta, Sri Lakshmi Venkateshwara Swami, all that goes on. So when we say the Bhu there in the connotation of a Devata, is it the same thing as a Chit Padartha? We need to explore. Then, as a part of the Panchasuktas, Bhumir Bhumna Durvanantaksham Mahitva Upasthete, this mantra is said. Is the word Bhu the same as Chit Padartha? Need to explore. Then, when we get the terms like Bhusura, Bhudeva for denoting a community person, Brahmana, does the Bhu represent a specific piece of land, a planet in the cosmos, in the spatial system? Is the translation correct? Is it Chit Padartha? We do not know. We need to explore. but the usage is there. Then Bhumipala. Bhumipala is a king. So when we use the word Bhumipala, Bhumipalaka, do we expect the king to rule over the entire cosmos, to rule over the entire Chitpadartha as a Raja Yogi? We need to understand, we need to explore. When Parvatas, mountains, are called Bhudhara, are we having an imaginary story that the earth is holding the mountains, or mountains are holding the earth? Bhu? What is the connection? For us, earth and mountains, rivers are all part of one particular experience. Are they chit padarthas? We don't know. We need to explore. Then we have a very popular, prayer. Vedanudharate, Jagannivagate, Bhugola Mudvibhrate, Daityandarayate, all that. So, when this Bhugola Mudvibhrate, we are presented with Varahaswami carrying a planet called Earth on its tusk, and we see the Lakshmi or the Bhudevi on that. Is this representation correctly representing the Vijnana part of the Bhu Prithvi? Need to explore. Then, when we do the pranayama as a very conventional traditional person, as a part of the Sandhya Upasana, we say Om Bhu Bhuvaha. Wait a minute. What is this Bhuhu and what is this Bhuvaha? How are they different? How are they connected to the Upasana? We need to explore. We need to explain. When we do Bhuta Shuddhi as a part of the Punyahar, other kind of rituals, the concept of Bhuta is Panchabhutas, and Prithvi is one of the Panchabhutas. So when we say Bhuta Shuddhi, are we cleaning up the whole earth? We need to explore. We need to explain this. Again, coming to very faithful, very devoted people chanting Saundarya Lahari and using it for the Sri Vidya, Sri Chakra worship. And in the modern context, people working on Kundalini Yoga, they invoke the Tantric, the Tantra reference and say the base chakra, Moola Adhara, Mooladhara Chakra. And how is this Mooladhara Chakra of the Tantra, where Swapishi Kulakunde Kuharini, the Kundalini is supposed to be dormant, sleeping, from where she is to be awakened and sent up to Sahasrara, and she returns and stays asleep again in this Kulakunda. What is the reference? Authority? Mahim Mooladhare. So Mahi, the concept equivalent of the Bhumi, is identified in the human body at the level of base chakra. Does it mean anyone who has elevated Kundalini? I have my own doubts on that. Okay. They have conquered the Prithvi and they are able to go to the higher level of Chit Padarthas? I have my doubts. We have not explained. And these are the questions that are asked by scientists and people who study different texts. So it is in this backdrop I am presenting how tradition has thought of Bhumi or this concept, the first of the Chit Padarthas, which is to be explored in Adhibhuta perspective of Yoga Vijnana given in Bhagavad Gita. That needs to be understood, that needs to be mapped. The first one I would go for is the logical analysts called the Nyaya Vaisheshikas. Charvakas deal with four tattvas: Bhumihi, Apaha, Anilaha, Vayuhu, and then say Bhasmantam Shariram, and then it doesn't exist, there is no consciousness. In Charvaka school, in Avaidika school of Buddhist Vanchains, consciousness is an outcome of the material interactivity. Life comes out of matter. This is the feature. Therefore, this school cannot understand the Chit Padartha Vijnana given in Gita or anchor of the Veda. So, Nyaya Vaisheshikas are the first of the teams who go to explain what is this conscious matter and how do they do that. The fundamental postulate used in Nyaya Vaisheshikas is the concept of Sapta Padarthaha Dravya Gunakarma Samanya Samavaya Vishesha Abhavaha Sapta Padarthaha, and within that Sapta Padartha Dravya is explained as Nava Dravyani, and out of that there are three groups: the Panchabhutas, Bhumirapo, Prithvi, Vayu, Prithvyap Tejo Vayu Akasha, then Kalatik Atma Manamsi. Then they go on exploring the whole thing. So the first one is Prithvi. So the Nyaya Vaisheshika's pedagogy exploration is Prithvi is explained as a Padartha, and under Padartha it is Dravya. Under Dravya it is one of the five put under Panchabhutas, and Prithvi is analyzed in terms of the 24 gunas and the overlap of how the Prithvyamsha goes in Jala, Tejas, Vayu, Akasha, and then how the other four interferes into the Prithvi Tattva, that interactivity. There is a Nitya model and there is a Vishaya Rupa model. Nitya Rupa of the Prithvi is called Paramanu, the most subtle, stable unit of conscious matter manifested in terms of the Prithvi Tattva or the Bhu Tattva. Now, this concept, the abstraction of this, does not fit into the classification of the periodic table, whether it is the first gaseous solid liquid models or the heavy metals model or the combinations. Nowhere does it fit in. Nowhere does this concept fit into the fundamental particles model. Nowhere does this fit into the cosmology explanation or the Big Bang theory or the string theory, which are projected, because the hypothesis of Chit consciousness is not present for deliberation in current science and technologies. The line of argument is consciousness could be measured as the impact factor footprint on matter. This is what I was talking in my earlier presentation as Plato's cavemen who understood the universe through the sun ray coming from a hole on the top of the cave and said, "This is the universe." When the door of the cave was open, they saw their entire system had to be revamped and a new model was to be given. Whereas in today's situation, by putting the first of the conscious matter Bhu as earth under matter, Yoga Vijnana, which was in the open space in the entire universe, has entered into a cave and seeing itself through a peephole called the matter interactivity. This Yoga Vijnana has to come out of the self-lock it has embraced in the form of matter science, material science. Material science has given a lot more benefit for good living, for health, but it has not given that Gnana Trupti, the Tattva Gnana, the Tatparya, the Darshana. It has not given. Therefore, the Yoga Vijnana teams must come out of their self lock and conduct yoga science research, which is a part of the National Institute of Vedic Science and Yoga Samskritam University initiative to go for yoga science research path. Okay. Then we look at how Nyaya Vaisheshikas presented more subtle information in this what you call uh, the Padartha Prithvi analysis. People are familiar when they study the Tarka Sangraha of Annam Bhatta, just the starting book. Okay, they get the listing of where is the Prithvi Tattva. Okay, I'm just trying to pull out that book. Okay, here I got it. Okay, it is in the section 2, characteristic of substances. Tatra, after the listing of the Sapta Padarthas, he gets onto Dravya, and first of that, Annam Bhatta says, Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi, the earth is having odor. This is the translation given. Now, should we accept Gandha as the odor? Is it like a perfume? Yes, earth yields perfume, smell. It is sensed. But is it the smell, odor of the camphor or the sandalwood or the cow dung? What is that odor? When the translation of Gandha is made as odor, the modern scientist will say, tell me the phenol or the aldehyde which is connected with the hypothesis of earth. And that is where the Yoga Vijnana fails through this translation. So we have to revisit the translations to get to the real model of what Tarka Sangraha or Nyaya Vaisheshikas have said. I will just quickly read through the model. Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi Sadvividha Nitya Anitya Cha Nitya Paramanu Rupa Anitya Karya Rupa. This is the first model of classification. Punastrividha, there is a second classification model, Sharira Indriya Vishaya Bhedat. This classification is not there in any of the physical sciences or the material sciences. Matter is not classified in terms of the body or the senses or related process applications. This is what comes from Nyaya Vaisheshika. And this is used in Ayurveda. Shariram aspadadinam. How is earth connected with our body? When we say Panchabhutatmaka Sharira, this is what we understand. When science or the neuroscience or the medical science treats body as a composite of chemicals and processes, this is missing. Then, Indriyam Gandhagrahakam. This concept elevates the first of conscious matter to the level of psychology, psyche, brain sciences, brain science, where the olfactory memories are stored, which is another discipline to be studied, which is not understood so far. Neuroscience is making great work on this. तच्च नासाग्रवर्ती विषयः मृत्पाषाणादिः. The objects that are covered under the conscious matter called Bhumi under Nyaya Vaisheshika are Mrut, Pashana, Adihi, etc. What is this etc. in this? This etc. is anything. And how does the classical Tarka people teach that? Ghataha, Pataha. We are happy with the pots and cloths. We have not gone to the level of understanding Nyaya Vaisheshika Vijnana as yoga. So the translation in a very celebrated book reads Vishayaha Mrutpashanadihi, objects are clay, earth, stones, etc. This is the place, this is the the exit where Nyaya Vaisheshika, the source tradition connection with the Chit Padartha, went haywire, took a bad exit. And when this took a bad exit, the understanding of the Vedanta Vijnana, Yoga Vijnana, used by Acharyas went wrong. The funny part is, the author of this particular translation, the book, says while Tarka Sangraha is meant primarily to unlock the doors of twin darshanas of Nyaya Vaisheshika, it is also the master key that has been used by the acharyas of other darshanas, the Sankhya and Yoga, Mimamsa and Vedanta. All Indian philosophy is characterized by the application of a rigorous logic that often looks hair splitting to the untrained layman. So they recognize that, but we have failed to understand, bring out the Yoga Vijnana in our Tarka teaching, right from teaching of Tarka Sangraha, because the current teachers are teaching the text and tradition under Vedanta, under a particular flavor, to be refuted as Nyaya Vaisheshikas are not correct using the same tools. This is where we have to get back to understand the first of the conscious matters as Bhoma Antariksha. If we fail to understand this, we will not be understanding Akasha Shariram Brahma, which is in the Upanishads, Paramatma Sharira, which is needed for Vishwarupa Darshana, or Prakriti, which is used in Sankhya to point out to the first of the Chit Padarthas coming out of the Mahat Tattva. Or we will be able to understand the prescription for practice in Upaveda called Ayurveda for health sciences. The Vata, Pitta, Kapha gunas and then Shadrasas are all related to the Aushadhi, and then the Ayurveda Acharyas say what is the Bhumi part of this, what is the Tejasa part of it, all that. No chemistry can explain this by sensations. We cannot say mucus formation is kapha. Mucus formation in science has a different explanation in terms of the bacteria and all the other related points. But in Ayurveda, kapha is related to the food, the functionality, and all that. It is linked to vata pitta. Where is the link? So the dialogue of the Upaveda yogis, yoga vignanis, with modern scientists, the chemistry, biology teams is uneven. They are talking at different levels. The yogi scientist dialogue has to bridge this. Then let's come to Dhanurveda, same story. When come to Gandharva Veda, it is the same story. And when it comes to Vastu Veda, same story. We are not understanding the Yoga Vijnana of Chit Padartha needed for the Vastu practice. And it goes into several things. Just by telling Northeast is the most favorable thing and Ishanya is this particular Devata and doing a Graha Yajna, it becomes a faith. We are not able to establish. Just imagine if we can establish the science of this particular tradition, what will be the Atmanirbharata and the leadership position of India? The tradition which has guarded this under the shelter of Vedanta. We have much to contribute through the Yoga Samskritam and Vedic sciences to the welfare of the entire universe. Let me come very specifically to what you call the Vedanga Jyotisha. In Vedanga Jyotisha, 12 houses is the basic template, and one of the ways of marking what each house stands for is by the Panchabhutas, and the first house is marked with Prithvi or the Bhumi. So if we look at the three cycles in which the 12 houses are divided, it goes into Mesha, Simha, and then Dhanus. And three grahas are Kuja, Surya, Guru, the Rashiyadhipatis, and within that the Nakshatradhipatis, all that. Have we used this science to prescribe the Parihara for the Graha doshas or understand Dasha Bhukti in terms of the Sharira Sthiti and the Prakriyas? We have to do a lot more research on that. We use Dasha Bhukti, but we have not understood the Chit Padartha Vijnana inside this. These secrets are hidden in Parashara's system, 18 Siddhantas, Jaimini, Nadi system, all that it is there. The practitioners are using tidbits of that, but the Samagra, Sampurna Shastra of Chit Padartha has to come out. This is where our research has to go. Now, coming to the next one. When we talk of astrology, Vedanga Jyotisha, we also have to talk of little bit of astronomy. Astronomy, we are very proud to say, several centuries, millennia ago, we are able to predict the eclipse. And the eclipse, right from ancient times, is explained as Chaya, the shadow of uh, the sun or the earth or the moon, whatever, the Graha Chaya, that is coming up. When we talk of the Graha Chaya, Bhumi Chaya, are we talking of the Chit Padartha there? No. It is something else. So, how did the ancient scholars, the Shastrakaras, use this concept in a very specific discipline? That is the exploration of the last tradition. Now, let's come to the popular presentations. Chaturdasha Bhuvana Bhanda, Brahmanda, Anda Pinda Brahmanda. Very nice to hear. We believe that we consume it without asking a question. We also take Ashtadigaja Dhruta, the eight great elephants holding the earth. The word Bhumi is used. We use the word Bhusima for marking the Simollanghana. When a sannyasi who has taken the ashrama transcends or crosses a particular border set, which in this particular case, for various debates, has been the Bharata Bhumi. It's called Samudrayana or the Videsha Gamana. Are we understanding the Bhutatva? Is it not the same Bhutatva in Bharat that is present in Saptadvipa Vasumati? So, what is the concept of Simollangana in Dharma Shastra? Are they using the Chit Padartha Vijnana here? No. They are using a specific contextualized meaning on this. When we go to Tirtha Kshetras, Punya Kshetras, more so the Shakti Pithas, the Devi Nama is used Bhurupa Sakaladhara. Bhurupa, that mother goddess, the Shakti, has taken the shape of Bhu. Does it mean that they have a theory of matter coming out of energy? Shakti yielding Padartha. Shakti Padartha is a famous debate in Tarkashastra. But Shakti giving Padartha is energy yielding matter. It will be a revolution. It will be a revolution in the entire physics. We know that when the fission takes place, there is a huge amount of energy, and a very tiny part of energy is converted, a very tiny part of matter is converted to energy, and the result is either the nuclear reactors, power stations for the human welfare, or nuclear bombs to destroy the civilization. But here we are talking of energy, Shakti yielding Padartha, which is a part of the Siddhi process. And we say, ah, this person is doing magic, abracadabra, and then something came out of his hand. And we have the magic stories, magic wand, mantra danda, and we enjoy that. To understand what was the science behind the mantra to mantra padartha as siddhi, we require the understanding of the chit padartha, which starts from the bhu, the first of them. Now that I have just pointed the connection of this one concept of bhu into several practicing disciplines, and I have positioned where the material matter substance approach to Yoga Vijnana falls short of the traditional concept of Dravya Padartha Bhuta model. Where is it that we are missing? What did we lose? Why did we end up in a wrong translation? There are two reasons for this, which I submit as hypothesis. This is not to hurt anybody. This is this is to be explored further, and this is where Yoga Sanskritam University is looking for yoga science research models, research scholars, and research programs to be taken up. The first one is, we in our tradition somewhere historically historically I would say around 17th century, lost or separated the understanding of yoga vedanta and yoga vijnana. Yoga vedanta became the high end of the religious institutions, Chaturamnaya Pithas, or the Divya Kshetras, or the Ashtamathas, or the Parampara of the Paramahamsa Parivrajaka sannyasis, Pithadipatis. Then, Yoga Vijnana, which was supposed to be the foundation of the Upavedas, reaching out the benefit to the society, split into professions, the Vaidya, Jyotishi, Purohita, and Vishwakarma, and these people failed to connect as a community, as an integrated community, to the root source of the Yoga Sanskritam, the language. So they were happy like the mechanics who can repair the vehicle but who cannot design the vehicle, who cannot conceive an upgrade on a given vehicle. They can jolly well make a given vehicle run perfectly as long as the spares are available. With the loss of the Yoga Sanskritam connection, the design team, the spares manufacturers, the drawings used for testing, validation, quality check, it all went underground. So the existing vehicles just continued to get serviced and repaired and continue. So this is the post 17th century broken history of the Vaidyas, Jyotishis, Purohitas, Vishwakarmas, and several professions who use Chit Padartha Vijnana. And what did the Yoga Vedanta people do? They said, our job is to protect the high end of the knowledge. We are the standards body. We sit on the ivory tower rooftop. We are happy to train our Shishyas, and somehow the supportive society will support us through the doles, through the dakshina, and all that. We come in only at the end stage to give you the moksha. So they were happy with the Paramartha end, whereas society needed Purushartha end. Result, the gap was filled by the religion of a specific kind with a theological, philosophical, worldly bent. The Raja died. The Guru went into the mountain peaks or the forests. And the society, the community lost the Guru Raja and the Raja Guru, both. This is where we are. When the vacant um, space came, nature abhors it, and that space has been filled by many faking, climbing, partial understanding, or differentiated understanding. They are not able to unify this tradition of Yoga Sanskritam. This is the challenge before us to unearth, bring out yoga way of learning using Sanskritam. We have to jump to the model of what is the deliverable practical utility of Sanskritam. I call it ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತದ ಉಪಯೋಗ ವಿನಿಯೋಗ ಹೇಗೆ. Instead of telling Samskrita kashta, difficult, Sanskritam is the language of a religion and prayer, Matiya Bhashe, language of a community, a classical language, a historical language, a dead language. Therefore, it is non translatable, which simply means I do not understand what was told. It is as good as useless for me. If we do this Sanskrit revival using yoga, the Chit Padartha Vijnana will come up to build a vibrant culture of Yoga Samskriti with Purushartha as the foundation of Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vishwa Kalyan. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्, which is the Gita message. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीः विजयो भूतिः ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम, which is Patanjali prayer, worldwide known as Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Rogam Sharirasya cha Vaidyakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjali Ranatosmi, which is the unified tradition of Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitarthaha. To become a yogi who is Gnana Vijnana Truptatma. So with this, the follow-up lecture on this would be on rest of the Chit Padarthas, how they have been used in tradition, how they can be practically used and handshaken with modern research. These could be National Institute of Vedic Science workshops, Yoga Samskritam University workshops, Yoga Science research projects. Okay. Thank you for that. Hari Om Tat Sat.